All right, so we're alive. That's amazing. Guys, can you hear me? I got the microphone a bit away from me, and my voice is actually quite bad. I got a tooth inflammation here. It's affecting my throat. The webinar is going to be great. Don't worry. I just hope I'm going to get away with it without coughing too much, and I hope that my voice is kind of okay for tonight. So my name is Erik. Welcome to tonight's webinar. We're going to talk about past traumatic experiences and how to heal from that. I think it's the 18th. Yes, it's the 18th of February. We're 8 o'clock, and we have a bunch of people here on Zoom tonight. Let me have a look. It actually looks great. We have Alan. Welcome. Let me see. Arsima. And we have Chris. David. I think, David, you and I, we chatted on Meetup. Nice to see you here tonight. We got Deborah. We got Eleonora. Let me see. Ava. GP. Jake. John London. I think, John, we also met on Facebook, didn't we? Had a little chat there. It's great. I hope you're going to be satisfied tonight with the information that we're going to relay to you. And let me see. We got Jake, John, Kyle. Good to see you again, my friend. Guys, Kyle has been with us over more than 40 webinars. Just amazing. Absolutely love it. Let me see. Then we got Laura, Lockvier, Luis Cabral, probably from Latin America or Spain, I suppose. Michelle Wilson, Nicholas Baggers, Ognian Stanchev, Rosalie Monastro. All right, that seems to be it for right now. So, well, anyway, apart from being here on Zoom, we're also on Facebook tonight, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. So, welcome everybody. My name is Erik. You may be able to tell by my accent, I'm not exactly Irish or British or American. I happen to be Dutch. I've been out of my country for more than 20 years. I roamed around in many, many different places of the world. I actually like my country, but I like it even more to be abroad and to explore new territory. So I've been in Ireland for almost 3 years right now. It's a great place. It's a bit rainy, but it's also quite green. It's got a lot of space, and it's a beautiful country with beautiful people. So I think we have a lot of people here from the UK tonight. What I always ask to everybody is, let's do a little, very, very brief introductory round. Maybe you want to put something in the chat and just let us know where you're from and what brought you to the webinar tonight. Now, if you type really fast, you want to give an answer to both. Where you're from, what made you come to the webinar tonight. If you're a bit more slow, like I am on the keyboard, you might just say, okay, well, I'm from that place, Devon in the UK, or whatever. I'm from Dublin, Ireland. It would be nice to know that that's how we familiarize a little bit more with one another. It would be great. So we might have some comments that enter in, coming in from Instagram and YouTube and Facebook as well. And while you guys are typing, yeah, what do we have in store for you tonight? So obviously, when we think of past trauma, we could think with the whole idea that there's something unwanted stored in our mind that simply doesn't want to release, right? There's something there that kind of like drags your attention again and again and again. It simply doesn't want to release. So we're going to look at that tonight, how that comes about, how you can actually effectively, and I really mean it in the true sense of the word, how you can effectively handle that. All right. So let's see. Some people are already responding. That's absolutely great. Let me see. A lot of responses. Oh my gosh, I can't keep up with you guys. That's amazing. Fantastic. Somerset, UK. Understanding emotions affected me from the past. That's great. That's from Deborah. Then we have Sushikar from Bristol, England. Like to recover from trauma and learn how to emotionally regulate during stressful, let me see, where's that? Oh my gosh, I'm struggling a bit with the mouse here. Let me see. Learn to emotionally regulate during stressful situations. Okay, we're going to cover that. Suki. GP from London, interested in the topic as part of my psychotherapy training. Beautiful, fantastic. I hope it's going to be insightful for you tonight. So Laura is from Italy. Ciao ragazza. I'm here because I'm going through a tough time. Would like to learn how traumas work. Okay, good. I'm pretty sure you're going to get an answer. Jan from London. Okay, what brings me here? Trying to get over unwanted emption. And Eva Lava from South Africa. Beautiful. I went to Johannesburg just a couple of months ago. Gosh, what an absolutely beautiful country. I love South Africa. Anyway, live in London right now. Would love to learn more about how to work through my issues. Good. Lakvir. Hi, I'm Lakvir from West Midlands. Would like to recover from my past. Very good. Ruth from Kenya. Beautiful. Been there as well. To Ngong in Nairobi. Lush, green, beautiful country, guys. Okay. And then we go. Luis Cabral from Portugal. Hola, Luis. ¿Qué tal? So learning techniques, how to heal past trauma. All right, David Smith. Hi all. I'm from Leicester. No, I'm gonna give up. Leicestershire, I suppose, right? That's a long one. Bit hard for me as a Dutch person to pronounce that. In the UK, going through tough time with unexpected divorce. Okay, thought this section might be helpful. Yes, David, I hope so too. Agnian from Bulgaria would like to know about trauma and how it affects. Let me see, scroll a bit more. How it affects our manners. Good. Chris from London would like to learn from my past experiences. Pronounce Leicester. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, David. I love that. That's beautiful. All right, good. So let's get started. What we're going to cover tonight is the mind. So like I said, when you're talking about trauma, that is something that is stored in your mind. And it's something unwanted that's there in your mind that produces an unwanted effect on you, on your body, and on your emotions, and on your vitality. And so in order to get there, I want to do a little drill with you just to get started. Yeah, to get you some data, some information, some insight in what is the mind for real. What is it really? So what I want you to do is I'm bringing up this topic, primary school, right? Primary school. And so what I would like you to do is just see if you can get some pictures from primary school. Let's say if I would ask you to think of the building itself. Maybe you see the size of the building. Maybe you see where it's located. Maybe you see its color. Maybe you can see the roof. Maybe you can see how many floors it had. Maybe you can see the windows. Now maybe you can also see the playground, the courtyard. Maybe you could see the entrance where you would actually get into the school or leave the school again. And we could also go to the classroom. Say, well, you know, if I would be in the classroom, the blackboard would be over there in front of me. And maybe get some ideas about where the walls are, where the windows are, and where's the door that allows you to enter the room and leave the room. Now, just a quick question for the chat, please. And that is, did you get some flashes? So did you get some pictures coming to you? Just maybe flashes, flashbacks, whatever you want to call it, but certain pictures that came back to you in your mind, in your memories of the school, of the building, perhaps the playground, the classroom, maybe where you were sitting, maybe you could see the teacher's desk. Yeah, we got some pictures, yeah? All right, good. Now, that's fantastic. Okay, good. So, our mind makes pictures. Now, let's take it to the next level. Let's take it to the next level. And that is this. We're going to take it one step further. What I would like you to do right now is imagine that you're sitting in your favorite chair in the living room in the house where you grew up as a kid or as a teenager. Maybe you lived in different houses before, it doesn't matter, just select one particular house. I would like you to imagine that you're sitting again in your favorite chair in the living room in one of these houses where you lived before as a child or a teenager. Now, if you have that, here's what we're going to do. I want you to locate the table in that room, but from where you're sitting. So if you're sitting here, and you get a table right in front of you, I want you to locate that table. I want you to locate it in your mind, and just point from where you're sitting. Just point it out. Say, well, the table would be over there, just like a meter, like 3 feet away from me. Now, if you've located the table, maybe there's more than one table. Just pick any table. Let's have a look if you can see the color of that table. If you can see the shape of that table. Now, did that table have a little cover on top? And perhaps it had some drawers. Maybe you can see what is the texture of the table. What kind of paint was on it. So if you had that, that's amazing. That's very good. Now the next thing I want you to do is locate a window in that room. From where you're sitting, just point it out. Okay, well, I got a window over there. Point it out for yourself. You know, you can even point at it with your index finger. And then just determine how large is that window. Now let's have a look. Did that window have curtains? Did it have blinds? Did it have, plants sitting in front of it? What did it look like? What did that window look like? What was the color of the curtains or the blinds, or what kind of pots were there with plants? See if you can get a picture. Now lastly, we're going to actually locate the door in the room. There might be more than one door. Just pick one and say, okay, I want you to locate it. In my case, going back to the living room and the house where I grew up as a kid, if I would be sitting here, I'd have a door about approximately 12 feet away from me in my back. I remember distinctly there was a brown door, and it had this brass handle, right? So what I want you to do is have a look again from where you're sitting. Where was the door? Just point it out. Get the color again. Get the size of the door. If you can, get the picture. All right, now I'm going to ask you. So who was able to do this to some degree? Doesn't have to be 100%, but who was able to do this and get these pictures? All right, Sachin, yes, you did. All right. John, yes, done it. David, okay, fantastic. Laura, done. Amazing, guys. Ruth, I did. Guys, I can't keep up. Deborah, mainly window, no table. Door, yes. Okay. Agnan, yes. All right, good. So let's put something on the whiteboard here that gives you a bit of an idea. What is it that your mind does? Let's imagine we have a body here. So that would be your mind. Your mind makes pictures, and these pictures are not photos. They're not tangible. You cannot touch them. But what we could just see is that these pictures happen to be three-dimensional. So there are three-dimensional mental pictures. It's very key. They're mental pictures. They're not physical pictures. They're not chemical pictures. They don't exist in terms of physics, like that we can actually describe them in mass, like in weight, or in volts, as in electricity, or in chemical components. These pictures are not describable in that way. They're not tangible. They're not a product of the physical universe like this thing is. That is a product of the physical universe. It's got weight, it's got mass, it's got dimensions. It simply exists in space and time, very much unlike your mental images. Now, the interesting thing is this. So you're making these images, which are actually copies of the environment. You're constantly making copies of the environment, and you store everything that is perceivable from that environment. You store all those perceptions in these pictures. That is to say, the amount of light, the temperature, the amount of space about you, colors, and so on. It would also include what you're doing with your own body position, any aches or pains or these kind of things, your emotion, all that is stored in these pictures. We're gonna go a little bit more in depth, I should say, on that tonight. Now, here's a fun fact. We can call this your mind. And one thing that really points out that it is a mental picture is this particular phenomenon. If you would close your eyes again, for example, and just imagine being back in that living room again, and then say, well, the table is over there, and the window is over there, and the door is over there, you're actually pointing things out in space. You're not pointing inside of your brain. You would not say, well, let me see, the table here is in the center of my head, and the window here is in my front lobes, and the door here is just next to my temple. You wouldn't do that. So there's something else going on. This actually tells you your mind and your brain are two distinct, very, very distinct things. So when we say the mind, we mean the mind. When we say the brain, we mean the brain. These are not the same. The brain is a lump of grease, mass. It has a certain function, but this thing is called mental. What you just looked at, these things in space, you could say, well, that's a mental phenomenon. You could perhaps also call it a spiritual phenomenon. We're not going to go into that tonight, but just to indicate that these pictures don't have any mass, whereas all physical objects do have, that these pictures can appear and go away at will. That shows there's something more going on with these pictures. Now, how do you use your mind? It's very simple. So we're making pictures all the time, right? So let's say you get home, you got your keys with you, you put your keys on a dresser, right? You put your keys on a dresser, and you made a picture of it. Now you're gonna go to your bedroom, you're gonna take a nap, and you take a shower, and then you decide to do something else, and you look at your watch and say, gosh, it's Tuesday. It's Erik's webinar tonight, but my computer doesn't work, so I have to go to my neighbor and ask him if we can watch together. So you put your coat on, and you put your hands in your pockets, and you say, well, got something, where the F is my keys? Where the heck are my keys? Right? Now, All right, so what are you going to do now? You're going to go back to your bedroom and go back to your shower and go back to all these different places? Most likely not. Most likely you're going to contemplate just for a bit. And you're going to ask yourself, all right, so what did I do exactly when I got home? And you're going to rewind your pictures and say, hang on. I got home, I passed by the dresser, and actually I put the keys on the dresser. So now your mind will tell you where you can find your keys. And that's how it works. You take your car into town, you meet some friends in the pub, right? On your way back, say, oh gosh, now I've been here before. Now your pictures will just guide you back to where your car is. That is how it should work, and if it works like that, your mind is in a pretty good condition. All right, so I have a question again. I have a question again, and that is the following. So we just looked at primary school, and we just looked at the living room. So we just looked at a few examples here, right? Now, did anybody get any unwanted sensation, any unwanted emotion that all of a sudden surfaced to say, you know what, this puts me into grief, or I'm feeling slightly upset doing this, or I have a bad feeling about this? Did anybody here get some kind of an emotion or a feeling that surfaced? Eva says yes. All right. Jake said yes. Okay. Laura says no. I'm a bit behind. I have a few more answers here I saw. Let me see. No. And then a few yeses. Okay. Agnian can feel bad feelings. Lakvir, yes. All right. So, some people felt something. Some people didn't. Okay. So we're going to cover that tonight. Where are these unwanted feelings? Where do they come from? Right? How come they come back to you, and how come it's recurring again and again and again and again in your life? And how can you actually put an end to that? All right. So there was that. David, one memory of regret. Okay? Got you, David. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to cover another question. I don't want you to go too deep into your mind, because I don't want to make it dramatic tonight. I just want you to take a quick look and come back again. But here's the question. What happens to you if you think back of a moment of loss in your life? It could be that inadvertently you're being reminded of a moment of loss in your life. But what happens if you think back of a moment of a sudden loss or a heavy loss, maybe even a painful loss in your life? What will happen at such a moment? Please put something in the chat. Like I said, I don't want you guys to go into it. It's just best if you just give an answer. I don't want you guys to get emotional. But we need to make a point here. We need to, make sure it is understood. Okay, so there we go. All right, so we got feeling of sorrow, sadness, feeling lost, shock. It will make me feel horrible. You feel all the feelings coming back like you did at that time. Jake, you nailed it. That is actually spot on. Ruth, feel saddened. Agnian, so sad. All right, thank you guys. So, next question. When that happens, can you easily shake off that feeling and just regain your previous state of mind? So when that emotion just comes up and it takes you, does it command you, or can you easily shake it off and just regain your previous state of mind? Yeah, it's not easy, right? Stays with me for a while. Okay, I can't, not easily. I have to work hard at it. All right. Okay, guys. So that leads us to the next thing. Yeah. No, it's not. Okay, good. Thank you. So there's something there in your mind that controls you. It's very key to understand. I'm drawing here like this electricity symbol, right? There's something there that controls you. What it does, it actually sabotages you. We're gonna have a brief look at that. Because here we're actually gonna go into this whole field of self-sabotage. What is it that causes that self-sabotage to happen? Now let's first look at the anatomy. I'm going to give you a very, very simple example. You may have seen it in middle school, high school, or whatever. Let's say you had to do an interview, or you had to do an exam, or you had to do a speech in front of a group of people. And you had prepared the whole thing. Now the moment is there. And now the moment is there to prove yourself that you can actually do it. And let's say this is this speech. And you're standing there in front of this group of people. You want to do that speech. And something is controlling your body, making your legs feel as if they were spaghetti, as if they were kind of weak. You all of a sudden you feel like you're sweating, you're transpiring, you're starting to smell. Like when you think of the smell of fear, we nailed it, that's what it is. It's your hormones reacting to your emotion. You probably noticed that all of a sudden you get a dry throat. You find it hard to talk. All of a sudden you're so very thirsty. You need to drink and drink more and drink more. It's something that's completely taking over your body. You can't hold your body still. You're kind of shaky. You feel nervous. You just can't hold it still. Maybe you got some papers and you want to read from your papers, but your papers go like that. You can't hold them still. That is actually your whole body is being controlled, sabotaged, you could say. Now, that same thing also takes over a certain portion of your mind and wipes it out. You go blank. You're at this interview, which is a job interview or an exam, and it may be a face-to-face kind of thing. Maybe you had already thought with the idea, I'm going to ask this, I'm going to comment on that, and blah, blah, blah. And you failed to mention anything. You walked out of the room and said, gosh, how could I forget this? I've been working on this so much. You simply went blank. You're going to do that speech in front of a group of people. You wanted to talk about all these different subjects. And you go, I don't really remember what I was going to talk about. In other words, there's something there that controls your body, and it shuts down a part of your mind. And I want to give you very simple, almost a day-to-day kind of example of this kind of sabotage. All right? You guys, I'm going to wipe the board. Just a quick question. You guys are tracking so far? It's all clear? All right. Cool. Right, guys. Now, so let's say we got Bill and Mary. That's Bill. And this is Mary. Now, 8 o'clock in the morning before they go to work, they got some kind of an altercation, some kind of a clash with one another. And it isn't very nice. They're calling each other names. They're wronging each other. They're blaming each other. And it ends up in a bit of a fight, slamming the doors. And in other words, it's a pretty charged up. It's a pretty charged up moment. Well, let's say that happened at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? So now Mary's going to work. Mary's going to work 2 p.m. here. There's Mary. She's sitting on a chair. She's actually doing some computer work, looking at her computer screen. All right, so I got a quick question. So what do you think in this kind of situation? What do you think usually happens? Is Mary's attention really at work, or is Mary's attention still at what happened in the morning? In other words, where is Mary's attention? Is Mary's attention at work, or is Mary's attention in the past? What do you guys think? Okay, what happened in the morning? Still thinking about the morning, still happened in the morning, past, won't be able to focus on work. Exactly. That is totally correct. She might have some of her attention here, but most of her attention would actually be stuck on that moment, right? Now, let's say we take vitality as a scale, yeah? Let's say that represents vitality. Now, what is vitality? Is how much liveliness does that person have? How much cheerfulness? How much ambition does that person have, right? That is a representation of vitality. Now, imagine Mary's vitality before 8 o'clock, before they had the altercation. So before the whole quarrel here, Mary was somewhere on that scale of vitality. Later on in the day, would she still be at that same point on the scale? Would she still have the same point, the same amount of vitality in her? What do you think? All right, so we got a few no's here. We got a few no's. All right. So essentially, let me just wipe that out. From what we now know, from what we have now learned, it's Mary's got her attention on something that has happened. So she's got her attention on some earlier moment in her mind, right? Now, but maybe that was just an altercation, right? Maybe that was just a blown up disagreement. You could ask yourself, why does that incident weigh so much down on her? Why does that event have such an impact on her? Have you ever been in this situation where you ran into something and you reacted, and then you thought, why did I make such a mountain out of a molehill? Have you ever experienced that? Why did you make such a mountain out of a molehill? Or maybe perhaps you've seen somebody else doing that. Have you ever seen that? Have you witnessed that? Have you experienced that? Somebody blowing up something to such proportions, inflating it so much, making a huge mountain out of a molehill. You kind of like wonder yourself, well, there was nothing threatening there, right? Didn't get a bullet through your brain or baseball bat against your head. How can that weigh so down on you? Okay. Now, there is a reason for that. What happened here, it stands for a potential loss. Let's just abbreviate it, potential loss. Now, what is a potential loss? A potential loss is something that would threaten your survival. If you lose your job, you know your survival is going to be at stake, because losing your job might be that you lose the house, you lose your shelter. That might actually affect your health. Maybe your spouse, maybe your kids say, well, goodbye, but I'm not going to live in these conditions. So a potential loss can be quite a charged up thing. However, if it's of a milder nature, the person is just worried about it. He's just worried about it. If he really makes it into a mountain out of a molehill, that means there must be something bigger. There must be something bigger in the person's mind that got triggered as well. Like what you see on a ski piste. You take a little snowball and let it run down the mountain, and it snowballs, right? And it gets bigger and bigger. Your mind can do this, and your mind can exaggerate that. Make from something small something really huge. It can make something that should be a little bit stressful that causes you to collapse from stress. So, all right, let's have a look how that works. Okay, David, I hope you're still fine. I see your comment. By the way, everybody, it's great. I love your participation and makes the whole webinar very, very lively. So keep on chatting away. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to take you to the next example. All right, so let's take a very, very different example, right? Now, the purpose tonight is to give you information. The purpose of tonight is not to do you in, to make you feel bad. The purpose of tonight is to help you out to get from a person where you feel the effect of something to bring you up where you feel you can be at cause over it. All right? That is the whole idea. At the end of the evening, we're going to show you a book that will give you more information on how to handle exactly that thing, that traumatic experiences that's still ingrained in your system, how you can actually effectively handle that. But tonight, we're actually going to give you some data, some information that that will give you an idea how it's done and how things work. So let's take this next example. We got a little boy here, and this little boy is being bitten by a dog. Now, that happens to be very painful. I'm going to put that symbol there again for pain. This boy is losing a lot of blood. He might even be losing his consciousness. And the next thing is that he's actually right now on the operation table. There he is, horizontally, he's on the operation table. There's a couple of surgeons doing the operation on him. That, of course, is in the hospital. He's got his own funny smells, flavors. As you know, it's kind of cold over there in the OR. So, combined, you would say, well, that is far from a pleasant experience if you're a young man. All right? You're being bitten. You almost lost your life. And you're being stitched up. They put all kinds of weird needles and stuff in your body. You're surrounded by these scary people, especially when you're young. It's freaking cold over there. You got these funny smells all about you. Not exactly a great moment in your life. So, let's imagine that whole moment is stored in somebody's mind. Right? So, it's right there. That is the painful spot in the person's mind. As we know right now, whenever he thinks of it, he's gonna feel it again, right? That's more or less how it works. So, what happens? Let's say this is Joe. Joe has grown up a little bit. And Joe is now walking down the road. going in that direction. Joe all of a sudden notices a dog. Now, that dog happens to look a bit like the dog over here. What is Joe's mind going to tell Joe what to do? How is Joe's mind going to affect Joe? Put something in the chat, please. All right, so there we have the first one. Eugene, fight or flight. I like that. All right. Let's see if we get more answers. All right, David says trigger bad memories. Ognian, scare. Run, run, run. Okay, Jake is going to take him back to when he first got bit. All right, guys. All the answers are correct. The whole thing here is Joe's mind is making a big mistake. You're gonna say, Eric, what nonsense are you talking about? Why would that be a mistake? Why would that be a mistake? Well, very simple. How about the dog here is the sweetest dog? Is an everybody's friend. Is very pettable. His tail goes like, waggle, waggle, waggle when he sees you. But your mind tells you to freaking run away. What is that? That's where your mind makes mistakes. What happens here when there is something painful in the recording? The person can no longer think analytically. There's something painful there. The pain dominates. He can no longer think analytically. The pain is going to control with two things. It's going to control the body and it's controlling the emotion of the individual. If he was freaking scared here, he's going to be scared again. If he felt numb there, that he couldn't do anything, he's going to feel numb again. If he had the feeling there that he better run away, he's going to be he wants to run away again. He's going to discharge that sentiment has been recorded and is basically overruling everything else that could potentially happen on an analytical level of thinking. So here we get the exact mind-body sabotage. Something kicks in, it controls Joe, but the biggest mistake is this dog isn't this dog. This moment in time isn't this moment in time. This circumstance, this event, this situation is not that circumstance, event, or situation. In other words, there's a part of the mind that just kicks in and it goes on a full-blown dramatization. Have you seen something like this before? Does it make sense? Okay. Now, you might say, well, okay, Eric, well, that's fine. I don't care about the dogs. I don't have any issues with dogs. Well, replace the dog for a person, and you'll find out that you may have a certain fear to see your boss, for example. or to see a dentist, for example, or to see a doctor, for example, is the same mechanism that will actually put its control there. Okay, let me see, bear with me for a second, let me see what I have on my notes here. So, what do we have here is that this is very key to understand. The past, in other words, can still play part on the present, no matter how long ago. If it's half a century back, it can still play its part on the present and just be reactivated. Instead of a full dog, maybe a tail would have been enough to just reactivate the picture. Okay, so in this case, we did an example. This case, we did an example where Joe was somewhat aware of what had happened to him before. He might have passed out here in between, but he had some kind of an awareness of what actually happened before. Now, let me see. So here's the question, yeah? What if the person, let's imagine this is not there, you don't have any awareness of it. What if the person is feeling down or he's feeling emotional he's feeling in grief, he's feeling upset, or his body is out of balance because he's under stress or under some tension, but he cannot see where it came from. Now you got this figure that you have seen in your own mind. You start to overthink. Figure, where does it come from? It actually follows the same principle. There's something there that's controlling your body, that's controlling your thoughts and emotion. And it's coming from somewhere, but right now you can't see its content. So could that be the same principle at work here? Could that be the same principle? And the answer is yes. So, now, how do we solve this then? How do we actually solve this? How are we going to get rid of these unwanted feelings, unwanted emotions where you say, but that is not me. That is not who I really am. I do not want to be like this. How do we actually solve that? So, give me a yes in the chat if you wanna know. Just for the fun of it. Because I know some people are quite happy in that state. Some people, you probably know some people who say, well, you know, it gives me some benefits. It always attracts a lot of attention. Okay, so I guess we had a lot of yeses, guys. Man, you guys are amazing tonight. Love it. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. Now, so how can we solve this? We're gonna take this back to to Bill and Mary. We're gonna take it back to a very simple example to show you how simple It really is. It is really freaking simple. But since we have, I don't know, experts who never actually discovered this stuff, they had their own ideas, that it must be very, very complex to understand. Therefore, it got never resolved. Quite simple. All right, so we're going to go back to Bill and Mary, yeah? So we got that altercation in the morning at 8 o'clock. Produced a lot of tension between them. Produced a lot of tension in Mary's mind. So, as we have seen half an hour ago, Mary went to work, and her attention was still there on what had happened earlier. It lowered her vitality. All right, now Mary is actually a very smart lady. Mary decides she's going to go home and she's going to talk to Bill. So now we're going to go to 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. now. And Mary wants to sit down with Bill. And they want to have a talk together. Okay, they discuss the whole thing. Mary looks at her mind, and she tells Bill about the whole thing that's been happening in her mind. So Bill gives his story. They make sure they really look at each other, understand each other. They're in communication. They're trying to not get upset with each other, but just dissect the whole thing. They come to the conclusion it was all a big misunderstanding. It was just a big misunderstanding. From that, the liking, the loving, the affinity, the appreciation for one another came back. And as a result, they felt love again. Okay? They felt love again. Okay. Now that's a short story. But here's a question. You've probably seen this in life. You settle a dispute. You talk over a certain problem. And all of a sudden that whole thing becomes lighter. It doesn't weigh you down anymore. If that happens at 8 p.m. in the morning, if that happens at 8 p.m. in the evening, what do you think will have happened to that mental charge that was weighing her down? Would that mental charge still be there and weighing on her, or could it have been gone? What do you think? Could it have been gone, or would it still be there after they thoroughly talked the whole thing over? That's a question, by the way. It's a question for you guys in the chat. So they just sit down together. They discuss the whole thing that happened earlier that day. They find out it was based on complete misunderstanding. And from that, they're actually able to fall in love again. And my question here is that, will that charge still be there, or will it be gone? So it will be gone, mostly gone, maybe not gone completely. All right, and all the answers here are correct. All the answers here are correct. Hard to say, not sure if all the individuals are alike. One is mind, but it will stay in the mind. All right, guys, you got it. That's really beautiful. So, as we have seen, let's say we take Mary. So, if she's lucky, indeed, that charge, that painful emotion that was stored, that fear of loss, is erased, is gone. That is one outcome. The other outcome is that it isn't gone. Now, why wouldn't it be gone? Why wouldn't it be gone? That is very simple. Because there is a earlier, similar experience somewhere else recorded in the mind that keeps that thing alive. Maybe I should take another color. So, somewhere else, an earlier moment in time, there might be some similar event that the person hasn't seen yet in his mind. Remember, mental pictures, not physical ones. That got triggered. But the person doesn't know about it. So now she thinks that this one hasn't resolved because the earlier one got activated. And this is how experiences and memories become painful. This is how memories can become painful. This is why we feel we can't let go of it. Now let me see, I'm just exceeding time a little bit. If you're okay with me with another 5 minutes, and then we're just gonna end off, yeah? But I hope that gives you a bit of a picture. Your mind is full of recordings. And there may be something there, perhaps even innocent in a certain way, but you haven't spotted it, and it has been triggered. And there is some great emotion and some great pain, perhaps, stored in that memory that is now triggered, has now been activated, makes this one look much bigger. These two, this is the molehill, that is the mountain. This is what makes the mountain out of the molehill. In other words, there's some work to be done in order to handle that. Now, the main thing I want to get to you tonight, one more item, is there's another question for you while I'm cleaning the board. Have you ever had this feeling? Have you ever had this feeling that if such and such an event would not have occurred in your life, that you would be better, happier today? Have you ever considered that? That if such and such an event would not have happened, you'd be a happier, better individual person today? Please pop an answer in the chat. Okay, yes, definitely, absolutely, yes, for sure. All right. Definitely, several things, many things. Yes, I can, but always will be in mind. All right. Amazing, guys. And another woman. If I had another woman, I would be better. All right. Yes, and yes for others. I know how they behave. So, basically, what is happening here is that was your vitality against time. I'm sorry, I'm an engineer. I will sketch things. It's just my habit. So here's your vitality a long time, and something disastrous happens, and your vitality just crushes. It just tanks. And from that moment on, you continue you're much less alive somehow. You're no longer that cheerful, that enthusiastic. You don't have that energy anymore. You find it hard to get out of bed. You find it hard to motivate yourself. You're no longer the same individual. So what happened here is that your vitality can be compared to a coil, like a spring in the car. And a good example here is with a kid. You have a kid that has a very fluid vitality. Very fluid in the sense that he's happy, he's cheerful. He starts to run. He runs, he trips over a stone, he hurts himself. Now vitality is just tanking. And now he's bleeding and he's in pain. Basically, because of that moment, that spring is all of a sudden crushed, suppressed. Now, with a little kid, his biggest trick is he can rebound because his vitality is so fluid. He can just rebound again and get right up again. That's probably the question you want to answer yourself. Well, your vitality was quite good at some point, and then you got a few hits of life. Your vitality was crushed, and now you got yourself this question: how to rebound. How to rebound and how to get your vitality back. So basically what we cover tonight with Mary and Jane, you could see there was an example of communication. Now there is a certain procedure, a communication procedure, where you're actually going to have a look into your own mind. And it's an amazing technology. That's what I can tell you. It ups your IQ, your self-confidence, and your abilities. And there's a procedure which I'm gonna show you what the book is all about. It's gonna come up in a few minutes, where you would simply locate the charge in your mind, and see if there's anything else connected to it. Earlier and get it out of your system. And when you do that, this is the stuff that limits your vitality. And when you erase that stuff, when you get rid of it, you're going to rebound. In other words, you're going to get your vitality back, and you will never look back again. You're going to be a reborn you. All right, now, I'm going to end off here tonight. And I've been taking 70 minutes of your time. I hope you really enjoyed this webinar and you got some information, some valuable information out of it. Now, the key, the real key, even a very therapeutic key, is knowledge. Maybe tonight you recognized a couple of things and you said, damn, that is so true. That is so true. There was nothing new here tonight that you didn't know. It was just presented to you in a way that you could take it in and say, oh yeah, that's right. I kind of know this already. That is because it's been researched in such a way and presented to you in a written form in such a way that you can actually see how things work and how they apply to life. Now, to that, we have basically two solutions. That is, before I get there, before I actually want to offer you the solutions, just for curiosity, who here tonight really, if you could handle that traumatic experience or experiences, let's say you could handle all of it in a single weekend, just a single weekend, just as if you would fix your car in a garage. Who here would be interested to make that happen for himself, rebound and start a new life? Who would be interested in, and just for my curiosity, like I said, who would be interested to say, if it could be done in one weekend, I would go for it? Let me know. I would. +1. I would. Well, okay, it's not very easy. Okay. Well, that has to be discovered. If it's there for a decade, will it really go away in a weekend? Yeah. Well, okay. So, I got your attention, right? Here's the point. It's a very, very key point. If you bring your car to a garage, you will not say yes to, all right, come and pick your car up again in 4 years from now. You would not accept that. You would not accept an answer like, well, let us have a look at the car and come back in 4 months. Or come back in 4 weeks. You'd probably tell them, I'll give you 4 days max, and then I need my car back. And you know this because these people in the garage, you know that they know their business. You know that they can fix cars. Now, mental health, I'm going to be blunt, has a very bad reputation in that field because it was not able to do what a mechanic does in the repair shop. That doesn't mean that all the techniques out there don't work. That's actually something that I'm going to present you tonight that actually does work. And it does make the difference. And I can tell you from so many experiences that a lot can be done in a single weekend, believe it or not. So, number 1 is a book which is called Dianetics that you should definitely at some point in your life read. And I'm going to pop up the link right now. There we go. This is an international bestseller. It sold more than 22 million copies in more than 50 languages. That's how big it is. There's more than 11,000 organizations on the planet right now that use this technology. It's the study of the mind. The book tells you how the mind works, what it is that causes you stress, causes you unwanted feelings and emotions, limits your potential, and how to fix that. And we made a special deal for our friends in the UK, because normally there's a shipping cost involved, and we decided to give you guys the maximum benefit tonight. You can actually order the book without any additional shipping costs. I think it's about 16 or 17 pounds for you guys. It's a no-brainer. The reading the book itself is very therapeutic, and will help you to realize where things come from, why these things keep on happening to you again and again, and how to fix that. Now I have another thing I wanted to show you, and that is called the Dianetics seminar. That link is coming up right now. Dianetics means through the mind. It comes from Greek, so it's just a book on the mind. It means through the mind, what your mind does to your body and you. Now, in that Dianetics seminar, you can actually register. You don't have to pay. You can register in the link simply if you want to have more information. But in that Dianetics seminar, it would be a weekend of 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Half of these days are filled with films, like Hollywood documentary type of films that show you chapter by chapter, how does your mind work? And how does that affect you? How do you operate with these things in your daily life? Then it's going to show you the solution. What it is that you can do to eliminate the negative effects of your mind that are keeping you down. And yes, this is a sales pitch, Sally. That is very, very, very true. You can see that in our meetup. We do promote Dianetics. We also do promote Scientology. Well, it's great. So tonight you find out all about it. So in the Dianetics seminar, you will actually find out how does your mind work. You get all these principles, and then you're actually going to work with it. Yes, you're going to work with it. You're going to get the information, and basically in a single weekend, people have life-changing improvements. All right, guys, that is what it is for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. If anybody wants to stay behind and ask me a specific question, I'll be here for another 5 minutes. No worries. So go ahead. In case you want to leave me a comment like it was useful, or you liked it, or you know, it was valuable data, whatever. Nice to hear that. Okay. John London, the cost of the seminar is €100 for 2 days. It includes the materials. It actually includes the book as well, and includes the supervision. In terms of Britain pounds, what is it, 90 pounds perhaps? So, and it's great. It's absolutely great. It's a no-brainer, €100 for 2 days, including all the materials. You're going to take that home, and you're actually going to be a brand new person after that. Will the seminar be personalized to individual situation? All depends. All depends. If you're sitting on something that is so bothersome, so heavy, and so very, very personal, we can definitely do a very personalized approach. All right, David, thank you very much. It was an interesting session. Okay, Jake, something worth thinking about. Okay. The seminar is not online, guys. You would actually have to come here to Dublin. It's not an online thing, because it has to be done in person. You're actually going to train your mind how to look at things and how to erase the negative impacts on you. So it's always Saturdays, Sundays, Jan. Yes, very true. Every weekend, essentially. There might be a venue in Queen Victoria Street in London. That is possible. I'm not familiar with their address. I know there's an organization there. So I'm not familiar with that address, but it could be. Like I said, we happen to be in Dublin. So for all the Irish people or citizens of Ireland, you're of course welcome to come to Dublin, right? Okay, guys. So I guess that was it. Enjoyed having you guys tonight. Any seminar in Paris? Absolutely, yes. We just erected a humongous organization there, very close to the Olympic Stadium, if I remember. Just look it up. Okay, guys, so thank you so much. It's been already past 20 past 9. I'm not going to keep your time any longer. You've been beautiful in your responses and feedback. Absolutely love it. I hope you had a great evening with all this data. I hope it was worthwhile. I hope it's useful. I hope for yourself that you're going to get more information about this because it's life-saving. You'll find enemies, which is you'll find the cons, and you'll find the people who are very much like, that's a total life changer. For you, you have to find out your own truth and discover what is true for you. So I hope you do that. I wish you a great rest of the evening and hope to see you next time again. Bye for now.